YouTube, my name is Nicholas Montez, and you're watching my YouTube channel, The Teenage Movie Critic, and welcome back to another YouTube channel, everybody. I'm so excited to have you back together again. And in today's video, we're doing a ranking of all the movies I saw in February of 2024. Let's go and get started doing that. So with Madam Web, for the obvious reasons, there is not really much to say about Madam Web. I mean, honestly, it's just one of the most awful movies. Go watch my Sony review, Sony movies ranking. It comes in last place. Now, Players I thought was good, but I don't really know. Now, Land of Bad I thought was a pretty good survival action soldier film, but I feel like it could have been better. Alright, now we get the Bob Marley One Love, which was a film that I was very excited for because I like biopics and I like getting into the world of people's lives before they died. And, of course, you know, I think the performances from Lashana Lynch and Kingsley Ben-Adir were great. However, there was a lot of stuff that I feel like went so wrong with this movie. They're mentioning all this stuff of Bob Marley doing a peace concert, but he's doing it in all these other places, but he can't do it in Jamaica. I understand. And they don't even explain as to why everybody hates Bob Marley for some reason. And it's like they try to focus on certain plot lines, and so it's like, every time I think about this movie, it's like, there's a better version of what this movie could have been. And maybe that's because the movie only focuses on one simple part of his life and not covering his whole life. And so maybe if they just did his whole life, then maybe it would have been better, and you would have seen how the world changed into what happened. So, and plus, we don't even get to see the Jamaican concert. That's terrible. I wanted to see it, but yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on Bob Marley One Love. Now, Air Force One Down was actually a pretty good film. Surprisingly, I thought it was going to have a lot more airplanes than usual, but it actually has a lot of hand-to-hand combat, and some of it is good, and I enjoyed it. Now, Marmalade was a film that I thought was very horny, but was also somewhat very good and enjoyable. Now, The Tiger's Apprentice, it's a simple premise of a boy that can turn into another animal, and you have all these other people that can turn into other animals. The action's quite good, and it's a pretty colorful animated film. Now, Miller's Girl, it's almost like Marmalade because, you know, Jenna Ortega, she's so attractive in this movie, and, even like the Martin Freeman in this film is also pretty good. So overall, it's a pretty good film. Now we get to Mea Culpa, and once again, there's a lot of films that I kind of watch because, well, Miller's Girl I watched because I was interested to see what it was all about. Mea Culpa I watched because, and you know, Miller's Girl, Marmalade, I watched not really expecting much horniness coming from it, but there was a little bit of horniness in it. Mea Culpa was an erotic thriller, but I watched it specifically because I thought the main girl in the poster was pretty. Besides that, it's actually a pretty good film, some good performances, and that's pretty much it. Now, Suncoast was a film that was actually quite great. It was possibly the film that was talked about most this month, and for me, Suncoast was definitely one of the best films. I don't know if this counts as a February film. I need to probably go check back. I don't know. It's probably a January movie. I don't know. But for me, I loved Suncoast. I thought it was great. I thought the performances was great, and the story. I personally think this probably will win some Oscars. Most likely not, but we'll see. I loved Suncoast. Alright, now Argylle was the new Matthew Vaughn film, and for me, I loved this movie. I thought that it had some very exciting action, it was funny, the performances were great, and it was just another great Matthew Vaughn film that became one of my all-time favorite films of his. Now, the Underdoggs, I actually thought was actually pretty great, where you got Snoop Dogg, and basically all of the humor in this film is so R-rated, but it works so well. Even with like him tipping all these kids to play football, it's all great. The story is fun, and it's just a very likable, fun time. Now, this one was like sort of like a documentary of Jennifer Lopez's life, but kind of like an actual film itself. It was quite enjoyable, and I thought the music and some of the little guest star appearances were actually really good. So I loved This Is Me Now. And for me, this is easily the best film of February 2024. It possibly my favorite film of 2024 thus far. And what was so great about this one is you just have a great premise with all these different characters, and it has a nice animation, but at the same time, it takes this premise of people being scared of the dark, while at the same time, all of these little light factors of light, darkness, and all these different factors of things that kids think about, and they created a great story. I wasn't a big fan of the adult stuff and the, telling the story beyond. But besides that, it was a great film, a clever way to tell a story, and so I thought that Orion in the Dark was the best film of February 2024. That's my ranking of all the February of 2024 films. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.